साई राम। आइए हम सब अपने अगले सत्र पैनल डिस्कशन की तरफ बढ़ते हैं, जिसके लिए मैं पहले मॉडरेटर को आमंत्रित करना चाहती हूँ, भाई शिवांश तिवारी। भाई शिवांश ने थापर यूनिवर्सिटी पटियाला से इलेक्ट्रॉनिक इंजीनियरिंग में स्नातक की उपाधि प्राप्त की है और वर्तमान में बिजनेस स्ट्रैटेजिक कंसल्टेंट के रूप में कार्यरत हैं। उन्हें अपने परिवार में 3 पीढ़ियों से भगवान बाबा की भक्ति का आशीर्वाद प्राप्त है। वे श्री सत्य साई बाल विकास और श्री सत्य साई लीडरशिप थ्रू सेल्फ ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन के पूर्व छात्र और श्री सत्य साई लीडरशिप थ्रू सेल्फ ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन टीम के सदस्य एवं AIP बैक ऑफिस टीम में भी कार्यरत हैं। भाई शिवांश। आइए अब हम इस पैनल की दूसरी मॉडरेटर को आमंत्रित करते हैं, जो कि हैं बहन अनीता विद्युलता कोट्टपल्ली। उन्होंने ओडिशा के संबलपुर से कंपनी सेक्रेटरी और लॉ में स्नातक की उपाधि प्राप्त की है और वर्तमान में वे डेवलपमेंट बैंक ऑफ सिंगापुर में सीनियर स्पेशलिस्ट कंप्लायंस एंड लीगल के पद पर कार्यरत हैं। वह श्री सत्य साई बाल विकास की पूर्व छात्रा और बाल विकास गुरु भी हैं। उन्हें अपने परिवार में 3 पीढ़ियों से भगवान की भक्ति प्राप्त है। वह वर्तमान में श्री सत्य साई लीडरशिप थ्रू सेल्फ ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन के ऑर्गेनाइजिंग टीम का हिस्सा हैं। बहन अनीता।
Sai Ram, as we reflect on service and transformation, we are honored to have Brother Chinmayananda Pati from Ahmedabad with us today, whose journey is deeply rooted in Sai values. Sri Satya Sai Bal Vikas alumnus from Odisha. He has been associated with the Sri Satya Sai Seva organization since 2004. Serving in several roles, including State Youth Coordinator and National Working Group Convener for Study Circle. Currently, he is guiding the Sri Satya Sai Vidya Jyoti initiative for Eastern Zone states. Professionally, he serves as Assistant Vice President at KP Group in Renewable Energy, blending professional excellence with selfless service. Please join me in warmly welcoming Sri Chinmay Pati on the stage.
Sai Ram. Dr. Sandhya D. Nayar is a Sri Satya Sai Bal Vikas alumna and a Sri Satya Sai diploma holder with a family legacy of devotion to Swami dating back to 1965. With over 28 years of service in obstetrics and gynecology at Sultania Zanana Hospital, Gandhi Medical College, Bhopal, she has been at the heart of mother and child care, especially across Madhya Pradesh, where she serves as the medical activities in charge. Her work has shaped systems as well as lives, from serving as Chief Medical Officer at the Bhopal Municipal Corporation to receiving the Sri Satya Sai Dhanvantri Seva Award at Kottapalli in 2017. We are honored to have with us a woman whose steadiness has enabled transformation at scale. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sandhya D. Nayar. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. It's my privilege to welcome the third panelist, Shri Nagesh Venkata from Hyderabad. Shri Nagesh Venkata is a seasoned IT professional with over 3 decades of experience in leading large-scale digital transformation across in retail, energy, and manufacturing sectors. Renowned for building and mentoring high-performing teams. His strength lies in uniting diverse talents into purpose-driven, value-based team. Firmly rooted in Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba teachings, he practices the ideal of work as worship, bringing integrity, compassion, and discipline into every responsibility. A committed Sri Satya Sai Balvikas Guru for over 12 years, he continues to guide young minds with love, values, and selfless service. We invite you, sir, to kindly grace the stage. We now move forward to invite the fourth panelist, Srimati Jayashree Bajaj from Delhi. As we reflect on women as the anchor of stability for transformation, we are blessed to have amidst us Srimati Jayashree Bajaj, whose life beautifully reflects this theme. She had her first darshan of Swami in 1973 at Shimla, and her first visit to Kottapalli was in 1982. And from 1987, she has been a part of the Delhi NCR Study Circle. From 1992, she began conducting Sri Satya Sai Balvikas classes and later took responsibility for winter courses on Indian culture and spirituality. She has also translated Chinna Katha and youth wing materials into Hindi and has been blessed to serve annually at Prashanti since 1992. In 2005, she was fortunate to speak in Swami's divine presence during National Sri Satya Sai Balvikas Conference. We welcome you, ma'am, onto the dais. So, brothers and sisters, please put your hands together to warmly welcome this amazing panel. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you so much, sister. When the world rushes forward, someone must stand still, so humanity does not fall. That silent stillness, that unseen steadiness is often carried by women. Future of the world rests gently but decisively in the hands of a child. To shape that future, parents play a defining role. And within that equation, women represent a powerful 50%, not merely as caregivers, but as anchors of values, stability, and direction. आज के ये अगले 45 मिनट में हमारा ध्यान इन 50% महिलाओं पर रहेगा. Not in exclusion of men, whose role is equally significant, which you all will hear, but to reflect deeply on how women function as the silent flag bearers in the times of change. Today's conversation goes far beyond idealizing women. Instead, it is about acknowledging the quiet steadiness, examining its deeper source, and looking beyond appreciation to understanding how stability itself becomes a leadership force and how self-transformation remains the true foundation of social transformation. To explore this reality, we are in conversation today with our esteemed panelists, each of whom brings deep insight and experience on how anchoring silently shapes families, institutions, and society. As we begin, my dear brothers and sisters, we request you to listen deeply, not just with intellect, but with gratitude towards these women who are anchors, because anchors are the most visible when the storms arrive.
Thank you, Sister Anita. And Sai Ram to one and all, Sai Ram, respected panelists. So before we delve into the 50% that was talked about, I think I'll take a moment for us to just read the title over here and realize the paradox. We're talking about stability and transformation. So stability at times gets confused with stagnancy, while transformation is change. Such a beautiful paradox in the title itself. So I would like to go with the first question before delving into the topic itself. What exactly does stability in transformation mean? So sir, Nagesh sir, can you just help us?
Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my humble pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagwan, who is also my BFF, my best friend forever, and he keeps guiding me. And the trust, Sri Satya Sai Trust, for giving us this chance. And Nimish Pandya sir was here, okay, Chakravarti sir, Sai Ram, and Gopi Garu and all for giving us a chance to be here. And more importantly, hearty namaskarams to the divinity in all of you guys. So this is more of an event where I think we should give a big round of applause for all the people who are here to really make the next level leaders shape up. So that said, stability and transformation, yeah. Stability is kind of considered as stagnation, but it all depends on how we look at the stability, right? So I like to use an example of a river. There are two ways to control the flow of the river, right? One, we can build a dam, or the banks of the river also are the great controllers of the water, right? But they both are controlling, but there's a huge difference between these two. The first one, a dam actually blocks the water. It blocks the flow. There's no opportunity for it to go any further. But whereas banks are very different, right? Banks endeavor. Remember, banks are fighting every day to keep the water together so that the water doesn't go everywhere. Okay. And because of that endeavorance, the water gets the strength, the water gets the power. And that is the stability which actually brings the transformation. When we endeavor, that's when we see transformation. So, whoever are the leaders here that are going to become the leaders of transformation should become the banks, and those banks need endeavorance. Endeavorance comes from two things. Consistency. You know, in Hindi we call it sahanam, Telugu, right? Right. And then persistence and the sacrifice. So what is the sacrifice that we're talking about? What is the endeavorance we're talking about? See, the water is trying to go everywhere, and the banks are stopping it. And it is uncomfortable, right? And day in, day out, these banks are really stopping this, and that is the sacrifice they're doing for the temporary hurt that they're getting. But what is the long-term goal of this? It's actually bringing transformation. The water just goes around in the flow that it needs to go, and that's what actually brings transformation. So I want all of you guys to become those river banks who are controlling it, who are fighting every day and sacrificing small things, right? Without sacrifice, as Swami says, there's no big gain on the later. So let's sacrifice those small things which are like inconveniences for a bigger cause. Saira.
Thank you, sir. So, since now we have understood that what stability and transformation actually means. So, Jayashree ma'am, you've been appointed by Swami himself for study circle. So, I would like to ask this. Now, coming on to the 50%, which is basically prima focus for the panel discussion today. तो मैम वो कौन सी values हैं, वो कौन से virtues हैं, कोई मंत्रा हैं, which make women suitable as anchors for transformation?
Om Shri Sai Ram. My most humble salutations at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Bhagwan, and a very loving Sai Ram to all of you present here. ये प्रश्न जो मुझे पूछा गया है कि women में वो qualities क्या हैं जो उसको बना देती हैं an anchor of stability. हम देखते हैं कि हमारी women को जब they are very good at multitasking, हर तरह के काम वो कैसे कर लेती हैं आप जानते हैं. एक स्त्री अपने घर का काम भी करती है, बच्चों को भी देखती है, दिन प्रारंभ होते ही उसके सारी जिम्मेदारियां शुरू हो जाती हैं। बच्चों के लिए टिफ़िन बनाना, हस्बैंड के लिए सब लंच बनाना, घर की देखभाल करना, सारी ज़रूरतों को देखने के बाद, और उसके बाद अगर वो शी इज़ अ वर्किंग वुमन, उसके बाद खुद तैयार होकर निकलना, और एक बारी घर की जिम्मेवारियों को देखने के बाद जब वो बाहर निकलती है, फिर वही स्माइलिंग फेस के साथ वो अपने वर्क एरिया में जाकर काम भी करती है। ये जो हमारी चीज़ें हैं हम लोग सब रोज़ देख रहे हैं अराउंड अस। कहीं दूर जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं, अपने घर में मदर्स को देख लीजिए, ये सब कुछ हो रहा है। और उसके बाद ये भी क्वालिटी है कि विमेन अपने पति के काम में भी सहायता कभी कभी कर देती हैं। घर की हार्मनी को मेंटेन करना, इंटरपर्सनल रिलेशंस को बनाए रखना, और उसके बाद बच्चों की देखभाल करना, और उसके बाद सबसे बड़ा उसका गुण है अटैचमेंट और अटेंशन देना, सबको जो प्यार देना, ये सब काम वो कर लेती है बिकॉज। और उसके बाद अपने आंतरिक संतुलन को भी बनाए रखना, अंदर से अपनी भी स्थिरता को बनाए रखना, वो केवल इसलिए कर पाती है क्योंकि ये सारे गुण भगवान ने उसको जन्म से ही दिए हैं। ऑल दीज वैल्यूज़ शी हैज़ बीन गिफ्टेड बाय गॉड राइट फ्रॉम हर बर्थ। वैल्यू ऑफ लव, कंपैशन, फॉरगिवनेस, रेजिलियंस, फॉरबेरेंस, पेशेंस, सभी वैल्यूज़ उसके अंदर भगवान ने डाली हैं। और उसका एक विमेन में एक विशेष बात है कि भगवान में श्रद्धा और विश्वास, क्योंकि वो हृदय से ज़्यादा सोचती है, दिमाग से कम सोचती है, तो वो भी ज़्यादा होता है। इसके कारण उसको जो अंदर से बल मिलता है वो किसी भी व्यक्ति के लिए एक एंकर ऑफ स्टेबिलिटी बन सकती है। और हमारे बच्चों में तो हमारे प्रत्येक के जीवन में ये प्रभाव तो तभी से आ जाता है जब बच्चा माँ के गर्भ में होता है। हमारे बड़े कहते थे कि व्हेन अ लेडी इज़ एक्सपेक्टिंग, उसे अच्छे विचार रखने चाहिए, अच्छी संगति में बैठना चाहिए, अच्छा लिटरेचर पढ़ना चाहिए, क्योंकि उस समय वो जो कर रही है उसका सारा असर उसके गर्भस्थ शिशु में हो रहा है। इवन ये भी कहा जाता है कि घर का एटमॉस्फेयर भी उस समय शांत होगा तो बच्चे पर वही असर पड़ेगा, कलह कलेश होगा तो उसका भी असर पड़ेगा। इन सब बातों को देखते हुए और विमेन के हम तभी से देखा जाए तो हर एक व्यक्ति में माँ के रूप में एक प्रभाव वो शुरू हो जाता है। उसके बाद जब बच्चा जन्म भी लेता है, उसको बैठना उठना खाना पीना सिखाना, उसकी सबसे पहली देखभाल करने वाली उसकी माँ ही होती है, और इसीलिए उसको उसकी सबसे पहली गुरु भी कहा जाता है। तो हम जब ये सब चीज़ें देखते हैं, और एक और बात बहुत सुंदर है कि हमारे जो बच्चे, उनको सिखाने के लिए शब्दों की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ती, वो जो अपनी माँ को करते हुए देखते हैं वही वो करते हैं, शब्दों का असर नहीं होता। तो उसको उसका जो व्यवहार है वो भी बहुत उचित रहना चाहिए। मैंने बहुत सुंदर पंक्तियाँ कहीं पर पढ़ी थी कि एक बच्चा जो बड़ा हो गया है वो अपनी माँ को धन्यवाद कर रहा है कि माँ, व्हेन यू थॉट आई वाज नॉट वॉचिंग, आई लर्न सो मेनी थिंग्स फ्रॉम यू। पड़ोस में कोई बीमार था, उसके लिए खाना बनाकर आप लेकर गई तो मुझे लगा कि एक दूसरे की देखभाल कैसे की जाती है। मैंने जो पहली पेंटिंग बनाई तुमने फ्रिज पर लगा दिया तो मेरा मन हुआ मैं एक और पेंटिंग बनाऊं। आत्मविश्वास उसका बढ़ा दिया। और जब मैंने तुम्हें पूजा घर में जाकर प्रार्थना करते हुए देखा तो मैंने समझा कि हाँ, देयर इज़ अ गॉड जिससे मैं बात कर सकता हूँ। मेरे में भगवान के प्रति जो विश्वास था वो दृढ़ हो गया। और उसके बाद जब मैंने कभी तुम्हें रोते हुए भी देखा तो मुझे लगा हमारे जीवन में कष्ट तो सबके आते हैं, व्यथा भी होती है, कभी ऐसा हो तो थोड़ा रो लेने में भी कोई बुराई नहीं है। तो ये बातें लिखने के बाद वो बच्चा कह रहा है, थैंक यू मॉम फॉर टीचिंग मी ऑल दैट आई लर्नड व्हाइल यू थॉट आई वॉज नॉट वॉचिंग यू। बहुत सुंदर मुझे लगा कि अपने व्यवहार से वो सब कुछ सिखाती है, सब कुछ करती है। तो वही माँ उसके अंदर अगर अपने में वो संतुलन नहीं बनाए रखेगी तो वो ये एंकर ऑफ स्टेबिलिटी बन भी नहीं सकती। उसके लिए देखिए छोटी सी एक और बात है, हमारा ये जो टॉपिक का विषय है उसमें सबसे बड़ी बात है ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन। जब हम ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की बात करते हैं तो आई थिंक व्हाट भगवान वांटेड फ्रॉम अस वाज द इनर ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन। अंदर से हम पवित्र और प्योर कैसे बनते हैं, उसके लिए हमें अपने पर काम करना होगा, क्योंकि अपने को सुधारे बिना आप संसार को कैसे सुधार सकते हैं। हाउ कैन यू ट्रांसफॉर्म द वर्ल्ड व्हेन यू हैव नॉट ट्रांसफॉर्म्ड योरसेल्फ। वी मस्ट प्रैक्टिस व्हाट वी प्रीच, करके दिखाना पड़ता है। तो उसके लिए मेरे को लगता है कि सबसे बड़ा जो तरीका है अपने आप को ट्रांसफॉर्म करने का, दैट इज़ हम अपने अंदर जो कमियां हैं, षड रिपू हैं, उनको दूर करने का प्रयास करें। क्योंकि देखिए, अगर हम एक अच्छे मानव नहीं बन सकते तो हम उस स्तर पर कैसे पहुंच सकते हैं, हम एक माधव बन जाए। भगवान तो यही चाहते हैं। भगवान ने हमेशा हमें कहा, अंडरस्टैंड योर ओन डिविनिटी, उसको पहचानना ही हमारे जीवन का लक्ष्य है। मैं भगवान हूँ, तुम भी भगवान हो, अंतर केवल ये है तुम ये जानते नहीं। उसके लिए हमें अपनी आंतरिक जो पवित्रता है उसको लाना होगा, उसके लिए हमें अपनी साधना भी करनी होगी। तो उसके लिए हमारी जो बुराइयां हैं, काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मोह, मद, मात्सर्य, इनसे ऊपर उठना होगा। और जब कभी ऐसी प्रवृत्तियाँ या हमारी एनिमल इंस्टिंक्ट्स हैं या पाशविक प्रवृत्तियाँ सामने आती हैं, भगवान ने बार बार कहा है, रिमाइंड योर सेल्फ, आई एम अ मैन, आई एम नॉट एन एनिमल। एक भला मानस अगर आप बन जाएंगे तभी आप माधव की बनने की स्थिति पर भी पहुंच सकते हैं। तो इसके लिए मुझे लगता है कि सबसे पहले हमें अपने ऊपर सुधार करना है, क्योंकि जो हमारे पास है नहीं हम किसी को दे कैसे सकते हैं। अगर मेरे में किसी को धन से सहायता करनी है तो मेरे पास धन होना चाहिए, किसी की सेवा करनी है तो मेरे पास शारीरिक स्वास्थ्य होना चाहिए। आजकल के जगत में सबसे ज़्यादा जो बड़ी परेशानी है लोगों की, वो है उनका मेंटल स्ट्रेस, एंग्जाइटी। इन सब चीज़ों के लिए अगर किसी को आपने शांति प्रदान करनी है तो पहले आपको खुद शांत बनकर दिखाना होगा। तो मुझे लगता है कि जो आपके पास है, किसी को देने से पहले आप उसको उसको अपने में लाएं, तभी आप उसको किसी के लिए साथ शेयर कर सकते हैं या किसी को इतना ही कहूँगी। अभी समय की सीमा है, फिर बाद में देख। साईं राम।
थैंक यू मैम, थैंक यू सो मच। आई थिंक वेरी एप्टली सेड कि महिलाएं कुछ क्वालिटीज़ जन्म से ही लेके आती हैं मैम। बट माई नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन वुड बी, एंड इट वुड बी अ टू वे क्वेश्चन। सो कुछ क्वालिटीज़ जन्म से हैं बट हो सकता है लेटेंट रहें हमारे अंदर, एंड देयर कुड बी सम क्वालिटीज़ विच कैन बी प्रैक्टिस्ड। सो संध्या मैम, इट वुड बी अ टू वे क्वेश्चन. Firstly, what can women do or what can individual do to basically get out of that latent qualities or even cultivate those qualities? And secondly, since ma'am, you're a surgeon yourself, you are a woman of today, how are women exemplifying with examples today and actually implementing these qualities, and how can they cultivate if not?
Om Shri Sai Ram. My humble pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagwan, our Sai Ma, respected elders, and dear brothers and sisters and children. So, first of all, thank you for this opportunity to respected AIP and Gopi sir. So, the question to me is about the values which are already present in us, but it doesn't come naturally. So, as Madam just now said, that there are some special qualities in women. The 5 cardinal values, that is Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema and Ahimsa, is there in everyone. But the special qualities that women possess are compassion, forbearance, fortitude, etc., etc. So, these values, they are to be inculcated right from our birth or even before our birth. What Swami says is that the birthplace of any person, whether it is avatar or a common man, is the womb of the mother. So mother's womb should be suffused with good thoughts, good words and good deeds. So this is the basis, actually. So that is why we are carrying out the Mother and Child Care Program, which our Swami has very kindly given to us. So through that program, we are helping other women, especially those who are in the villages, the lesser privileged ones. We are going to them and explaining to them the importance of prayer, the importance of hygiene, the importance of good practices. So these are certain things which we are doing. But for those who are not able to bring out their values naturally, they need to do some special practices, spiritual practices like sadhana, wherein they have to practice silence, they have to do meditation, they have to do daily puja, that is the prayers. They have to involve themselves in seva activities, especially seva of the poor, the sick, the needy. Then they should strive to bring unity in their thought, word, and deed. So by bringing unity in thought, word, and deed, we can develop a good character. Character is the basis of transformation. So if you have a good character, you are able to bring forth a good image in front of the people, and you will be helpful in transformation. So you can be the anchor of transformation. So other than that, we can, as our Swami has given us so many opportunities, he has set up the Mahila Vibhag, having all the three wings, educational, spiritual, and service wings. So I will ask all my these daughters, I will say daughters because they are too young, I will ask all of you that after you have your leadership program and you join your, you go to your places, you should go to your samitis, the samitis there, and then you should take part in whichever wing you are interested, and then you should go for seva activities. Why? Because by doing seva, you get closer to God. And you should have firm faith in Swami. Why? Because whatever he does is the best for us. And we definitely get difficulties in our lives, but those difficulties are just passing clouds. So Swami is there to take care of everything. That belief should be there. I have an example of transformation in my own family. Shall I carry on with it? I have a great example of transformation in my own family. That is about my mother, that mother's role. So my mother's role in bringing back my father from the clutches of a dreaded disease. So my father was a chain smoker. And to begin with, my grandmother, she first became devotee of Swami. And she was always pestering my father to get a book of Satyam Shivam Sundaram in Malayalam, because our mother tongue is Malayalam. So she wanted a book of that. So my father was, in fact, like, I'll do it, and he was just postponing it. So then, once it happened that he just placed an order, and the book came. So when the book came, he was there to receive the book. He just took the book, and then he just opened it and thought that, let me just go through what it is. And then you won't believe, in one sitting, he read the whole book. And that brought about the transformation in my father, who was not a devotee at all, who spoke very ill about Swami. So he got transformed. And then he brought a picture of Swami. And then again, I'll come back to that smoking part. He used to smoke cigarettes one after the other. So he developed a bad throat. He went to the doctor. The doctor gave him some medicines and called him after a week. There was no effect. So then, medicine after medicine, they kept changing. The tablets was changed to injections and whatnot. So they tried every medicine. So it took around 1 month for this. And then the doctor suggested that I think you should go to a super specialist, an oncologist. So because they were doubting some serious issue. So my father was asked to go to a doctor, oncologist, where he went and got himself examined. And doctor said that, see, you are you are having a serious problem. And I think after too much of examination only, he came to this conclusion. He said that you have to undergo some operation. So I think you will have to, I'll fix the date on 23rd of July. This was in 1970, when my father was just 35 years of age. So then he came back to Bhopal, and then in front of that picture, my father he was walking, picture of Swami, and father was just walking with this cigarette in his hand. And as soon as he went in front of that picture, he felt as if Swami is saying, leave all these vices. So leave all these vices. So my father is saying, no, I'll leave the vices if you call me. Then again, and he was taking the cigarette back because out of respect to my father. Then again, this picture spoke to him, why not leave all the vices and then come to me? So he was so happy that he just threw it away. He thought that this is because this is really some true incident only. And so saying that, he threw away the cigarettes, never to touch them again. Then he discussed with my mother about the operation. So my mother, she was constantly praying for him, and she just was begging to Swami that Swami, such operation should not be needed. And so she just prayed and prayed and prayed, and finally that same voice which was constantly speaking to my father said that no operation, you don't go there, you come here, come to Kottapalli, come to Kottapalli. So finally my parents, they planned, they came to Kottapalli. Sorry, is it going long? So they came to Kottapalli, and then they sat here for darshan. So Swami came in the morning, didn't look at my father. Evening he came, didn't look at my father. This went on for 3 to 4 days. And then finally on 12th of July, and evening darshan, that was the last chance for them because 13th they had their tickets booked. So 12th, Swami, as he opened the interview room door, he just, from there itself, he looked at my father. And my father felt as if he's saying that, you fool, I'm going to your wife, I'm going to call her for interview. So Swami just walked and went straight to my mother, stood in front of her and called her for interview. So when they went to the interview room, Swami himself started saying that you went to this doctor, you went to that doctor, you took these medicines, this medicine, you took that medicine, but do you know what you're suffering from? It is cancer, and no doctor can cure you. But don't worry, you have immense faith in Swami, and Swami will cure you. So saying, the ever merciful Lord just stroked my father's throat. And my father, who was not speaking for at least 3 months, he was not able to speak. He spoke in clear voice immediately. And he was so happy, he wanted to use his voice. He said, Swami, my wife is suffering from such and such disease. Swami said, no, she's perfectly all right. And he blessed her. And he said that your case was serious, but don't worry, Swami has taken care. You are completely all right. So saying, he created vibhuti for them. And so this is the experience that I have. And from that day onwards, my father and mother, they just dedicated their lives for Swami till their last breath. So
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your experience. This has been really a great learning on how the mother's instinct and the wife's instinct helped recover the family from such a deadly disease.
Sairam.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Shifting the lens slightly, Brother Chinmay, you have won many hearts in your, you have won many hearts, and you have worn many hearts in your journey of service as a state youth coordinator, as the program coordinator of this very program earlier, as the East Zonal Lead for Vidya Jyoti, while simultaneously navigating professional responsibilities and social commitments. In such a deeply transformative journey, how has your spouse been an anchor of stability and strength? We would want to know her sacrifices and how the acknowledgement factor comes from your end. Sairam.
My most reverential pranams at Bhagwan's lotus feet. Now it's a real bouncer now. So, actually, at various fronts of life, people acknowledge and see the man who is in front. And we have the tendency to not look into who is behind. So, I mean, this is, as Nimish uncle was mentioning some time back, and this was actually when Kanitkar sir and ma'am was mentioning, I was realizing this is actually growing together. And I remember those days when I was the state youth coordinator for 5 years. There was sleepless nights. COVID came between for those 2 years. I mean, my practice was, my office is from 9 to 6. After 6 p.m., I used to come to the state office. And every day it's a 6 to 9 organization work. Me, state president and vice president, we used to sit together, and that's a regular everyday practice. So it's a 9 to 9 routine. And it was well accepted at my home that his office timing and his regular timing is 9 to 9. He was come to home after 9 only. And during COVID times, I felt I was on, after having office calls, I'll be having organization calls. Then it will stretch on till midnight, COVID seva, food seva, oxygen concentrator seva. So it not like that she always supports. There are times she also blasts. So, and I reflected why at times she is silent and why at times she blasts at me. And it is actually something that I reflected. If I keep a balance between everything, if I keep a balance between profession, my Satyasai organization responsibility, and family, then there will be complete sync, harmony, and everything will go hand in hand. If I cannot in a position to maintain the equilibrium, there could be tides and waves that can imbalance. So I remember once I sat together and it was stretching beyond during that COVID time once. And I told her कि मैं कर क्या रहा हूँ. If you are really unhappy with me at some point of time, let me know कि मैं कर क्या रहा हूँ. Am I doing something wrong? Then she said कि नहीं, आप कर तो सब कुछ अच्छे रहे हो, but at the same time you should also look into the family. Every responsibility I cannot handle. Then we mutually decided that I will maintain a balance. I will have to give time to the family, discharging responsibility of the family also. And seeing her dedication, I also realized, see, she told me that thing that day, and I even, one thing, Nimish uncle, I mean, this incident impacted me very, this incident, uncle was once speaking at our Odisha state conference. He was mentioning like one Bal Vikas teacher at his old age when he was at the deathbed, he was remembering that how is my Bal Vikas class, how will be my children if I leave them. So he was thinking about the Bal Vikas class, the classroom, the environment, his children. So I thought what a dedicated Bal Vikas guru he must be. Even at the last moment he is remembering his classroom, his children. But it was in a different way, uncle mentioned it. Even at the last moment, we are attached to that activity. We are attached to that classroom. We are attached to that. We are attached to those children. Even at the last moment, I am not even able to remember Swami. So if the central focus is Swami, if everything revolves around Swami, so the balance will be maintained, the equilibrium will be maintained. So the priority and the central focus should be Swami and not the activity. So together that day we discussed that activities and all these things are for my own transformation. My central focus is Swami only. So I think.
Great. I think such a lovely experience, Bhaiya. And due to paucity of time, I think we'll take just one last question. And since Jayashree ma'am, you talked about the values that one should have. Sandhya ma'am, you talked about how can we cultivate him. And luckily, you had support from family. But here, young brothers and sisters, a lot of times we get anxious as well as to whether we'll be able to get those homes through our partners, where we'll be able to be that anchor of stability, or we'll get someone who will be an anchor of stability. So for these young brothers and sisters, how can they ensure themselves when they look forward to these milestones? So sir, if you can share some examples, if anyone, if you can share some experience in this regard.
Sairam. This is an interesting challenge. I'm sure all of you guys who are at the age right now to find the partner is thinking about, okay, but will I get, right? And that's a very valid question and valid concern, I would say. But trust yourself, right? Trust yourself that you guys can make the right decision, number one. And take Swami's help. And again, it's very interesting when we get into Swami's fold, we get so passionate about it, we might forget what Swami has said, right? Swami treats everybody the same, right? Swami, have you ever seen the love he spreads on everybody? It's like a rain falling on everybody. But when we start looking at other people who don't follow Swami, are we being that rain? We may not be, right? But we need to develop to that level. And when we do that, our balance is right, as Chinmay Bhaiya said. Check with Swami if that is the right person. And if Swami decides that, yes, this is the right person, and if they are not Swami's devotee, they will become Swami's devotee. I'll give you my own example for that matter, right? I was not into Swami's fold at all for a long time. I am from Anantapur, close by, but I had to go all the way to US to become Swami's devotee, right? That's how Swami's timing works. And was it me who went into it? No, it was my wife. So she was the one who actually started following Swami's teachings, and I was that ignorant guy who said, I'm not going to do all this, I will just support you. And I used to be that guy who was taking care of bhajans when people come home, usko chai pilao, coffee pilao, ya nahi to jo bhi hai. That's what I was doing for almost 3 years. So what I'm saying is, but now it's a very different story. So Swami has his own timing. So don't worry whether they are in Swami's fold or not. Just pick the right, good people. People who are compassionate. People who respect others. Right? People who are empathetic. This is what all the Swami was saying, like Madhuri Madam was saying, and how they both led their life. It's just so inspiring. Right? And they were fortunate that they were in Swami's fold, but whatever principles they followed can be followed with everybody else also. So pick the people like that and let Swami do his magic. He will do it, trust me. You have full faith, you follow it, you be that person. They say, right, be, do, and tell. With Swami, you don't even have to tell. If you say be and do, they will follow. So be confident on your choice, guys. And when can you be confident? When you yourself have transformed and you are following Swami's values, you follow them well, believe me, he will give you the best person for your project. Okay?
Recently, one of our district youth coordinator in Odisha, this is a girl who was into Bal Vikas from childhood. She's a Swami devotee from earlier 2 generations. So she got married to a family who is not into Sai fold. She was describing her experience. So after she stepped into her in-laws, so जो पहला देखने के लिए आता है ना गांव में जो रस्म होता है या मुंह दिखाई ये सब उनको कुछ जो सगुन देते हैं. So she decided कि जो सगुन मुझे मिल रहा है, she kept on saving it. She is a housemaker, homemaker. And she was thinking कि मैं कैसे स्वामी को introduce करूँ मेरे in-laws को. And immediately after 1 month, whatever she had saved, she proposed कि I want to do a Narayan Seva with your permission, which we have been doing and practicing since my childhood. So I want to do this Narayan Seva with this small saving. I don't need any of your support, but I have some little amount that saved. I want to do something. I want to invite Narayanas and do some Seva. So we have to identify some or other platforms or means where we can introduce Swami to the family or to our partners. So that should be through our action only, so that our partners will accept Swami in the way they want to.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Bhaiya. A lot has to be said, but the time is the constraint here. And but definitely we'll have to draw this sacred circle to a close. And we realize that 45 minutes can't do justice to such a deep topic. But definitely it ignites a spark for us to introspect, to start thinking, right? And to understand the gravity of this topic. So I'll just quickly summarize our discussion today that we had. So transformation is often spoken as movement, moment, momentum, milestones. But today we are reminded that behind every great movement, something remained unmoved. And that unmoved presence is stability, right? So through this panel, we did not merely hear about women being anchor for stability, for transformation ultimately, but we felt how stability breathes. Either it be through a mother's silent prayers, be it through spouses' unseen sacrifices, right? So to all the women on this transformative path, you are not holding the winds of change. You are ensuring that the ship doesn't lose its soul. And to all the men, the families, and the institution, stability is not a women's responsibility alone. It's a shared responsibility. It's a shared reverence. Right? So, as we leave this hall today, I hope that we all become anchors for ourselves first, who are rooted in Satya, and who are guided by Dharma and are lived in Prema. Right? So, a big round of applause for the panel over here.